Hey, oh, we already got some people on here. Hello, David and Rose and Kathy. Welcome, welcome.
Hey, Marianne.
Hello. Oh, I thought my screen went blank. No, that was weird.
Hey.
Hey.
How are you?
Good evening. I'm good.
Good.
Getting set up here.
Okay. I posted all the stuff.
All right, good. I sent an email out. And I sent 2 emails out announcing it. So yeah, hopefully we'll have a good group tonight. It was a lot of fun last week.
Yeah. We've got Kathy in Glass, Rose Robinson, David Powers. Good. Good to see everybody.
There's Brenda.
Brenda.
Oh, she's on and she's gone.
From Worcester, Mass. Yay. Welcome, Rose.
Tom, today I was on a Zoom with him and he's like telling everybody, get your faces on here. It's much more fun when we can see you.
It's way more fun when we can see expression.
Yes.
You don't want to watch me eat.
Okay, maybe.
Oh, yeah, that's the rule, Marianne's rule.
Because I'm
Rose said it would be scary. Andy's just leaving the airport, so he'll be home right when we finish.
Oh, nice. Hello, Vincent.
Vincent, how are you?
Oh, Brenda's working out. Well, I just got done working out, so.
That's when you look great, when you got all that nice rosiness in your
yeah,
cheeks.
all rosy.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, Beth, how are you? I don't know if she can hear us.
I don't know. We got a couple more minutes. I'll be right back.
Okie dokie, I'll be here. We'll be waiting.
All right, we just got a couple more minutes. We're getting a few more people on here. Sweet.
Oh.
Am I on the big screen?
You are. All of a sudden, Marianne was right here on my desk. Oh, I sent hearts. Oh, happy bubbly hearts.
All right, let's get this show
Party started.
Get started here. All right, you guys, welcome. And we are on step 4. I keep calling them modules, but I noticed they call them step 4. So I'm changing it over to the steps. But anyway, so hopefully you guys got to review this ahead of time because there was a great video and a great audio on there. Great video from Tom and Denise talking about the coffee shop interview. And then also a great audio from from Alex. And, one of the things that, so what he said, don't ask people to come to a meeting because they go to meetings all day long. Invite people to something that's exciting, or that they're going to see something new, or they're going to see something they haven't seen before. And so this is 5 simple steps to successful inviting. How many people need to work on their inviting? Oh my
I do.
Us chickens, right? Yeah, we all do.
You know, I have, it's just interesting sometimes, like I have great success, and then it feels like, okay, I lost something along the way. Now, what was I doing before that I was having great success with? So inviting people. So remember, your goal is to simply have your prospect take a look at longevity. And I think sometimes we forget about that. I mean, and we're going to talk a little bit around the coffee shop interview and how this process, before you actually show them longevity, this could be several touches, right, Pamela?
Yeah, and I actually say that there should be multiple touches. And one of the things that I kind of disagree with that goes through the process a little bit is about just, sitting down and talking with them and telling them, asking them how they are, and then going in and telling them what you're doing. I think that Tom and Denise have done a fabulous job of teaching us how to love like crazy and then love more, by creating a relationship with people before you start to try and introduce what we have, because you don't know yet what is actually the best fit because you haven't listened twice as much as you've spoken. So you need to pay attention, ask the right questions, and don't ever have your own agenda. Be able to sit back and enjoy them as a person, love on them, get to know them on a deeper level, get to know their blood type, like Tom always says. And then when you find the thing that wakes them up at 2 o'clock in the morning, then you go back to them and say, you know what? I've been thinking about you and what you said about this. And if there were a way that I could show you how to help with that situation, would you be interested? And when you do that, you're asking their permission. You're not just diving in and going, I know what you need. Now, sometimes there are circumstances where you have a position of authority with somebody that you know really, really well, and you know it. And you can sit down with them and say, I found out about something, and I love you so much, and I care about you. And I think that this is something that you should give a try at, in order to help with whatever it is. It could be a health issue, it could be a money issue, but get to know these people first before you jump all over them. Don't, as we always say, throw up on their feet with everything that we've got. So if you do that, if you love them and you hear them, and then again, there's other times where you'll see people that are almost in emergent situations. When we're dealing with healthy, the health of people, there's sometimes you see stuff where you're like, oh my gosh. And I've been through that this weekend with my aunt, who is only 69 years old. And I'm showing up and seeing the circumstance, and it becomes one of those, okay, here we go. This is what Doc says. This is what we have to do. And you can be loving and firm with something like that. But for the most part, when you're talking with people, you need to be able to take a back seat and leave your agenda behind. So I hope that helps you all to think about that a little bit when you're going in, to talk with people for the first time, especially.
Yeah, and I think we're working on building those relationships. And so I think there's 2 different things going on here, where if there's people that you are trying to get to know, that you're working on getting to know them, and again, like Pamela said, the people that you already know. Like I could call my girlfriend up and go, you got to come and take a look at this. You and I know what's going on in that person's life. But if it's somebody new that I'm just getting to know, I'm not going to show them longevity until in the conversation, it becomes clear to me what it is, how longevity would serve them. Now, in networking settings, I've been with people, they know what I do, I know what they do, we can kind of cut to the chase, right? But we still create the relationship. It doesn't happen just a one-time deal and she says, well, you look at my business, I'll look at yours. So it's not like that, but we know what each other is doing, right? And so we get to know them. I like here where he talks about compliments. I think we always need to compliment people, and especially if you're just getting to know them, but even people who you've known for a long time like compliments. And talk about, I had a lady that I did this where I called and I said, oh my gosh, I said, Lisa, I know you're successful, she's a photographer. I said, I appreciate your business and what you've done, and you're just a smart woman, and I know you would never do network marketing. And I was all ready for her to say, well, yeah, and I wanted to say, I want to show you what I'm doing. And she goes, well, I wouldn't say never. I wouldn't say never. And so I sat down and did.
That was an awesome takeaway, guys, just so you know.
Yeah, awesome. She was like, whoa, because then it's like when you give them this compliment, and it has to be genuine, right? You're not telling somebody all these things about them if you don't really believe that. But, you go into the conversation, and all of a sudden they're like, well, geez, I'm a smart person, or I'm an entrepreneur. I like to hear about new things, and just use them a test to did something happen? What? Oh, I'm hearing some noise in the background or something. Hold on.
Make me a co-host, honey, and I'll mute out.
Oh, okay. I'm good. All right, hold on here. But and so having your friends that you can say, look, I'm doing this. I need to do a couple presentations. And I would love to just show you kind of what I'm doing here. And then, they can say yes or no. But most of your friends love you. They should anyway. And they're more than willing to help you. And the other thing that Tom uses a lot of times in the conversation is, hey, Pamela, I know, this, what I do. I know it's not something that you want to be doing or what have you. But I know some people that I could help. How could I serve them? And
asking for that referral is always key.
Yeah, get that referral.
And actually, Mike Battistelli, who is my enroller, he always said, you have to ask for that referral. You have to be the one to say, hey, you know what, this may not be something that you're interested in, but if you ever run into anybody who might be interested in whatever, whether it's the health part or the wealth part or whatever, would you mind giving them my information or connecting us, introducing us? And what's interesting is because now you're asking someone for a favor to help somebody else. And people, Mike has always told me, people will help you to help other people, whereas they may not be more as receptive to do it for themselves. And so if you put it in that light, they're like, oh yeah. And then what Mike has taught me is you can say, okay, so if you're going to refer people, you kind of have to understand what this is about. So let me send you some information. So that way, when you come across someone, you'll know what it is that we're doing. And then you can, you see who is going to fit into any of these pieces. And then, he says, more often than not, people will come back and say, hey, you know what? I want to ask you some questions about this because I think I might be interested for myself. Could you answer some questions? And so then again, you put the ball in their court and let them come to you, which is always a really great thing.
Right. And I have several advocates that send people to me, when they meet people that they think that I could serve them. So does anybody have any questions around that at all?
No? Or comments, experiences, things that you've had?
Yeah, successes or things that you've had that you, my Siri's like going off on my phone for some reason.
Or even failures, times when they don't work, because, the only failure that doesn't lead to success is the one that makes you stop. So those are important lessons to have when things don't go exactly right. So talk about those too if you feel so moved.
Yeah, that'd be great. So everybody always says, I don't know what to say when people ask, what is it? And so he talks about this. It says, I'm working, with a 20-year-old company, growing company, expanding in the area. A lot of people improve their health, and some are also earning great additional income. It's highly visual through No, wait. It's highly visual though. And that's why I want you. And that's why I want you to watch a quick video. So it's highly visual is what he's trying to say. It's what I was trying to say. So it's something that's hard for me to explain, but visually I can show you, right? And get them to look at the video. Use these tools because it gets exhausting, right? Trying to explain this over and over and over. But, you know, earlier we talked about your story. And so a way to use your story, when somebody says, well, what is it? You know, you can use your story by saying, well, let me tell you what it's done for me. And share your story, right? So you're not going into all this because your story has emotion. So you're not giving them a bunch of facts about the company or about the products, but you're sharing your experience. And people love to hear that. So, and I'd love to invite you to come and meet a bunch of amazing people who, you know, they've had health issues that they've had to deal with that they're no longer dealing with. And I think these are just a bunch of great people I would love for you to meet and hang out with, you know, versus come to a meeting. So think of creative ways that you, using your language, right, can invite someone to come and have coffee. I mean, that's the relationship side, right? Getting to know them better and doing the coffee shop interview. And for sure, watch the video that Tom and Denise did. It's really, really good. And, you know, a lot of you know contact mapping is coming out. I think it's the beta. Is it the beta? Oh, Rose asked where the video is. Oh, okay. So the video, are you talking, Rose, are you talking about the video for the training? Rose, I can unmute you. I unmuted you, Rose. Are you talking about the?
Yeah, the one with Tom and Denise.
Oh, okay. I'll actually put that very link in here because I had it pulled up earlier.
Is that in the resource center?
Yeah, it's in the resource center, which is where the university is, which is where we're training this from, is from the university.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
I'll put this module link here.
Yeah, so if you go to the Getting Started section of YGYU, rc.com for YGYU University, it's going to pull up each of these steps, and you just click on each step, and within step 4, you'll find the video for Tom and Denise. And it's very typical for them about, you know, explaining about contact mapping and about the coffee shop interview, and how to be more interested than interesting. You know, all those things that they have taught us so beautifully, that we just need to put into action. And, you know, the old story of be the messenger, not the message. So try to not answer too many questions up front. You want to leave a little bit of, you know, a little bit of curiosity there for them so that they can want to know what it is that's going on. If you share too much, it's kind of like when you're meeting someone for the first time, and it might be someone that you're interested in dating. You know, you think about that, and you don't want to, you know, get all in their face with everything because they're like, oh my gosh, get away from me. You know, you want to get to know them and have, you know, a natural level of intimacy come up. You know, you have to be respectful of their space, and, you know, personal space can be not just, you know, body to body, but it can also be emotion to emotion. And so sometimes people are very shy or uncomfortable about sharing personal stuff. But if you get to know them on a deeper level, you'll find that they will open up and they'll tell you what it is that is waking them up at 2 o'clock in the morning. And so once you have that under control and they're open to you, and you truly have to be coming from your heart. And Tom and Denise will talk about that all the time. Fire your brain and hire your heart. And you have to be earnest in the way that you're dealing with people so that they now feel comfortable enough to share the true depth of what's going on in their lives. You know, that's right. Love like crazy and then love more.
Well, what you're saying about dating and relationships and stuff like that, you know, I agree, because I think sometimes we think it's okay to spill, you know, tell everything. And then it'd be like, somebody be like, whoa, I don't even know where all that came from, but it's too much for me to handle right now. So maybe later we can get together. But
and leave something to the imagination. My husband always says when he sees people with the way that they're dressed, he's like, why do they want to do that? Leave something to the imagination. Leave a little bit, to look forward to. And that's a very important thing to understand. The other thought that you can think of is, think of it as a dance, and you're allowing that person to lead the dance, but you are gliding them across the dance floor to where they want to be, but they've started it all. And so you're just kind of bringing them in the right direction as you're dancing. So think of it that way too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a great example. Okay. Any questions? All right. So one of the things in Alex's audio file that he has in there, he talks about setting up appointments. And I thought it was really interesting because here's what he said. Do you have time to meet, for coffee or whatever, on Tuesday or Thursday? Versus, what does your schedule look like next week? So he said to be more direct with it, right? Be more confident about what you're scheduling, and tell them then, if they say, oh, well, neither one of those days will work for me. All right, well, what about, Monday? How does Monday work or something? You can change it, but not to just be so wishy-washy or just so open-ended that you don't get a confirmation. And then the appointment, you want to just keep it casual because it's the first time that you're catching up with somebody. Maybe you haven't talked to anybody for a really long time. Oh, let's see here. Who's this? Okay, David's got a question.
Mm-hmm. If you've asked them the questions to see if they're interested, and they say they are and agree to receive more information, and they don't reply in emails and don't answer their phone, we know they're busy and we just keep calling and emailing. Is there something else we should do? That is a great question. And I think if there's a circumstance where you've provided information and they have not replied to you, there was a time when I remember Tom saying that it's a nice way of people saying no because they're just not responding. And it's an indication that you really haven't gotten deep enough. You haven't found that scab and picked it. I know Denise doesn't like that concept, but Tom will talk about that. So it's, finding out what that thing is that is really annoying them, and continuing to speak about it until they say, gee, you know what, you've asked a lot of questions about that, and I really appreciate your input. Do you have any recommendations? Yeah, go for the annoying scab. Right? Yeah, the thing that's bothering them the most, the thing that's most important, that is waking them up at 2 a.m, is the thing you need to go after. It's the thing that they need, that they're telling you, sell that to me. And I say that, tongue in cheek. It's like, find out what they want to buy and then sell that to them. So, you're finding out what it is that they need the most and helping them. All right, Marianne?
Yeah, and I think, one of the things is when so what I do is I always ask permission. So I would go back, I would say to somebody, so you shared with me you have some health issues, and would it be okay if I sent you a video around that? Or would it be okay, if I sent you a tool or a health lecture or whatever? And let them tell you yes. Then if they're not responding, if you are sending them stuff, then what I would do is say, hey, I just wanted to make sure, because you told me you had these health issues, and I wanted to send you this information, around that. And that you've already gotten permission for that. So I realize you're busy. When the time is right for you and I to talk about whatever they have said is going on, then let's get together. So you've kind of let them off the hook a little bit as far as pressure wise and what have you. And again, if they're serious, right? And you might have asked the question. So on a 1 to 10 scale, how important is it for you to resolve this health issue? Because, people will complain just for the sake of complaining. People will whine just for the sake of whining. And you have to recognize that. You have to figure out, are they doing it because they're really upset, they want to change something, or are they just saying it to say it? And 9 times out of 10, they might just be saying it to say it. So getting permission is, then you have the permission to send them the information, and you also have permission to reiterate what they told you to confirm that what it was that they wanted to resolve. So that's kind of how I do my scab picking.
David, we'll unmute you for a second. Does that help answer your question?
Yes, it does. And it's just loving them like crazy and loving some more, and just being interested in what their life is presenting to them. And I think maybe using that 1 to 10 scale is going to help the tipping point for having them respond. I don't know, within a week, within a day, within 2 days. We're just finding this out as to what's working.
The other thing I wanted to, are you done, David? Is that good?
Yes, it is. Thank you so much.
Love you so much. All right. So, but the other thing that I wanted to talk about, and I saw this, I went to the ANMP last year, and I can't remember the gentleman that stood up on the stage, but he gave us statistics about how many contacts, right? That people, and I'm guilty of this, but people stop at like contact 3. They don't go to contact 4 or 5 because we feel like we're annoying people, right? But we've gotten permission. We've gotten permission to talk to them about this because of our conversation with them. And so he said the money starts showing up on the 4th and the 5th and the 6th and the 7th contact. That's why I'm so excited about the contact mapping app, right? Because it's allowing you to understand that it takes more than 1 time. It takes more than 2 times. It takes more than 3 times. And so that continual follow-up, chit-chat, even this lady who I think I shared with you that she brought in her dad, who's a chiropractor, and she runs a blood lab here in town. She bought a franchise. She's still not in my business. But guess what? We're still hanging out and talking with each other. And we had breakfast last week. And she goes, I do want to get a better understanding about what this is about. So we still haven't gotten into, are you ready to join yet, right? Because that's not the conversation yet. And I've sent her a few things and she's looked at it, but I'm pretty confident that she'll be in my business at some point. And you start understanding when people have that curiosity and they keep the conversation going. And it's, you might get together because it's somebody's birthday or you're going out for drinks or whatever, but they ask about, so how's it going with that business? What's happening there? So they're still curious, they're still curious. So, he says 5 to 12 impressions. And so those impressions could be, having coffee, showing them a tool, using the rapid funnel, using the contact mapping, invite them to other events, other things that you're doing outside of longevity, especially if you're starting to get to know people. Like we're having a booth at the multicultural event in Longmont, which is when we're going to be up at the mastery thing. So some of my people are going to be working in this booth. And the people that, my friends, I could say, oh, you should go by the I can't even say it now. Multicultural event and listen to some music and stop by and, say hi to my friends. And it's real interesting. We did go to this lunch, and just a really quick story. And we sat down at the table, and the lady next to me, I knew she was taking some longevity products because she'd been really sick. She was a really good friend of Denise's. And she goes, oh, you're in longevity, aren't you? And I said, yeah. And she goes, yeah, I really like the products and stuff. And I go, God, you look so familiar to me. But I just don't, I think I know her from someplace else. Anyway, she goes, well, is anybody else at the table in longevity? And I was like, oh, yeah, like her. There were only 2 people at a table, I think it was of 10, that Oh, no, no, no. Only one person at the table is not in longevity. So it's interesting because we do life with each other, right? We have fun with each other. And when other people come in, they see the community, they're like, wow, like she just thought it was so cool, all of us hanging out. Oh, maybe it was two. I forgot. There was one other lady that had to leave early, and I think there was two. But anyway, so, and it's interesting because these are really good friends of Denise's. So this was a very, I want to say not highfalutin, but, you know, very high level business. It's a women's work in Longmont. And it was just really interesting because we were like, these are all Denise's contacts, right? We can't coffee shop any of these people because they all know Denise. So we had to cut them off our list, but that's all right. Oh, and somebody said something else today. Alex said on this call that we did earlier. And he said that this gentleman did a meeting presentation, right? And the upline was like, oh, this room is going to be packed. There's going to be like 80 people there, you know, and what have you. And there was only 8. But he did the presentation like there was 800 people. Because he said, even though there were only 8 people there were 800 people in the room, right? Because those people know people. So those people were going to hear that presentation. He was going to give it to them as the best that he could, so they'd be able to share it with the people that they knew. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Are they stuck on anything? What does this invitation thing do for you guys? Does it make you get the heebie-jeebies?
Hey, Marianne, I wanted to step into a little bit of Eric Worre's Go Pro for a second, because you started to talk about the confirmation. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's really important, because you're talking about this on a scale of 1 to 10. How committed are you to whatever the issue is, of fixing whatever the issue is? And I love how Eric Worre talks about the invitation after you've asked somebody, if I had something, you know, would you be interested? And he said, if I would, you are the big words that you need to remember. So if I gave you a link to a website with a complete presentation, would you check it out? Okay, so you're asking them a very, very specific question. If I invited you to a special invitation-only conference call, would you listen in? And then when they say yes, you say, okay, so we've done the if I would you, and they say yes, then you say, when do you think you could read that link or watch that link? And they'll give you a time and a day, and you say, okay, so you said Wednesday at 6 o'clock, you said you could go and take a look at that link. So you will have read that or gone to that link by 6 o'clock on Wednesday. And they'll say yes. And so you're reconfirming all along, yes, yes. You'll say, okay, so I will call you at 7 o'clock because you will have watched that link, and then we can discuss it. Yes, okay. And then when you call them back, the first thing you ask them is, did you watch the video at that link? And then if they say, yes, I did. Oh, great. What did you like best? Let them lead the way. Remember, they're leading the dance. If they say no, say, no problem. When do you think you can watch the video at that link? And then they'll say, oh, I'll definitely be able to do it tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock. And say, okay, tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock. So I'll call you at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon because you will have watched the video at that link at 3. Yes. Okay, terrific. I will call you then. And then you call them then, and you do the exact same thing. Did you have a chance to watch the video at that link? And they say, yes, as a matter of fact, I did. What did you like best? And just keep going back and forth. And you have to keep following up. And every connection that you make, you need to make sure that you are going to create another connection once you've finished the conversation with them. Okay? So it has to be this game of tennis, if you will, back and forth. Once somebody stops hitting the ball, the game is over. So you need to keep going and make sure you keep that conversation happening so that you have those 5 to 12 connections to give them a chance to say yes. And through this process, the more yeses you get them to say, you've got them in the right frame of mind to say yes to whatever it is that you're trying to help them to understand will work for them.
Right.
And we have a question from Beth. What do we do when people don't believe supplements work, even though they see the difference in you? You know what? That's okay. And that's a great question because, you know, my company, Beyond Organic, came in and we didn't think that we needed supplementation because we're food snobs. We eat well all the time. We eat organic. We juice. We're, you know, earthy, crunchy, funky, weird. We don't need any of that stuff. And so then, and I had heard about Dr. Wallach before and about the Dead Doctors Don't Lie tapes, but I really didn't understand it in depth. And then when I looked into it and I thought, this is the truth. The truth is that we've depleted our soil, that we cannot possibly get enough from the food that we eat because a peach today, you know, a peach from the 50s, for example, is like 15 peaches today. You can't possibly get enough nutrition from the food that we eat. And so the only way that we can be healthy is through supplementation. And so that's something that you can teach people, or you can have them listen to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie tapes or the history of Doc Wallach to explain about, you know, what really happened was as soon as the Industrial Revolution happened and we stopped using the ash in our fireplaces to fertilize our gardens, that the soil no longer had those same nutrients in it, so that the plants that were growing in the soil couldn't get the same nutrients. And that's why plant-derived minerals are so important. So, you know, there are ways you can, but the truth is you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So you love them, you know?
Yeah, and I think part of that too, Beth, is she's just, you know, is this a friend of yours? She's just not ready to hear it yet, right? So you just keep loving on her, and eventually she'll start asking questions. But if it's somebody that you, you know, just met, or is it a friend? Did you say
it's different? It's different people. I've had friends, I've had family members, you know, and like I've got an aunt right now who's had strokes, and she's like, well, I got to talk to my doctor. Can you send me information? And I'm like, well, yeah, I could send you information. And then I, you know, gave her the Dead Doctors Don't Lie link. So I'm waiting for her to listen to that, and I'm going to send her some brochures. And then her granddaughter, actually, who's a teenager, just got diagnosed with depression, and she was suicidal, got taken to the hospital in Lynchburg. Mm. So I told her, I was like, you know, I said, this could truly help her. And, it, you know, and I would love to talk to you more and talk to her mom more about this. You could get, you know, her mom on the phone with me. Yeah, that'd be great. So I'm just waiting to hear. But it's like people with, like my mother-in-law, who's taking the products, and she sees the difference, but she doesn't want to talk to her friends about it. And she has several friends who have cancer. And I'm like, I know this product will help. And I'm just so impressed and so enthralled with this product. And I know what it's done for me. And these people have seen what it's done for me in my health and in my husband's health and in their own health, some of them. And it's just like they don't want to help take it to the next level.
Mm-hmm. Well, and so then maybe that's where you know, create that, them being an advocate, you know, of just, if they see people, let you know if there's people that you could help. They don't have to talk to them about it. You know, they can just say, right. Oh, you know what, you can just, you know, call my friend Beth, or call my cousin Beth, or whatever.
Right. That's what I've told them. I was like, just have them call me.
Yeah.
It's like, I can talk to them from here on out, you know, right. just let them know. And, but I've had a couple of people who have actually tried the product, and they've had problems with nausea and gas and things like that. And so they only try it for a month, and they're like, okay, I'm done. And I'm like, you know, you've got to give it at least 3 months, and you also have to make sure that you're eating the right way as well. So that's my other thing that I'm running into, is that people will try it for a month, or they'll do it like every few days, and then it's like, oh, it upset my stomach, and then they'll stop. And they'll try it again, and they'll stop. But they're not willing to do the eating plan as well.
Right. It was, yeah, so they're not really ready to commit. They're not a 10.
Right. Exactly.
Or a 9 or an 8 even. You
right.
know, they might be like a 5. So they're like, well, I'll do it for a little bit, you know. But, you know, and somebody called me and wanted to just do the Rev. And I said, well, you can.
Right.
You're not going to get the same results that
exactly.
that I'm sharing my story with you, you're not going to get the same results, right? You're sharing your story of what you're doing. So it's again, it's a commitment level and a permission to share with people. And if they're not, ready to hear it, and there's so many people out there that need to hear it, but guess what? They're not ready to hear it. And I've had plenty of conversations with people that were not ready, and they chose a different way, or they didn't choose at all. So really what we're looking for is those people who want this, right?
Exactly. They want their health. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they want better health, and it might be outside of your little circle, because I know, like, my husband had a knockdown drag out, like, with his whole family. We cannot talk about longevity around them. None of them.
Wow.
We're just not allowed to have the conversation. So we don't, unless someone asks a question. But I never offer anything or suggest anything, and that's just where they're at in their health. None of them are ready to do anything, any kind of commitment level at all. But
love them where they are.
Yep, I gotta love them right where they are. Okay, so listed issues to start with Dr. Conaway's digestive plan, along with the other two for, yeah. I mean, we know, that's the thing. I mean, I was talking to my son's friend, and he was talking about a doctor, and I thought, we know so much more than what doctors know. And it's hard for us not to be quiet about it. It's hard for us not to share all of that. But then again, it's like, well, who are we? They're looking, I mean, I've been doing this nearly a decade, and the information that I have and what I could support people with. Send them the video of Dr. Glidden. Oh, was that Brenda? As the expert, right? Use the tools to be the expert. So you're not being the expert. So they're not looking at you going, well, you're just, well, Pamela's kind of the expert because she's in that field. But for me, I, wasn't really not the expert. So I use the tools a lot, and I use Rapid Funnel all day long. And this guy called me about the ASAP. It used to be ASAP, now it's Rev. And I said, I respect that you aren't really interested in doing a diet or, adding the nutrients into it. But, let me send you the CD for, we've got this great health lecture. And if you listen to that and you think it's what do you say, something like, if you listen to that and you think it's important, go ahead and fill out the health survey. And sure enough, he listened to the CD, and I got this health survey back today. So, instead of me trying to convince him, okay, that you need to take all the supplements because, you're screwing yourself if you're not, I let Dr. Wallach tell him that he's screwing himself by not doing the supplements. So anyway, and one of the things that Denise shares in the video is that, it's hard to use a script if you're speaking from your heart. So helping these people and speaking from your heart is going to get you better connected and better be able to help them. Okay, what else? Oh, Dee, did you have a question? Somebody answered.
We're just chatting over here. We got multiple conversations going on.
Oh yeah, the CDs for the lecture. I also, when you come in, I've got a bunch. You can buy them from us. And we get them at a discount because we order like 500 at a time or something like that. So yeah. So I have all kinds of CDs. Wait till you see them all. Has anybody heard the a stick of butter a day keeps the doctor away? That is an awesome CD. So, all right.
Yeah, and this healthevaluationsystem.com that we've referenced, it really is an incredible tool. And if you're using the rapidfunnel.com /longevity, that's one of the tools that you can share with people that will link to exactly your personal health evaluation system. So when someone fills it out, they get sent a copy to their email, and you get sent to your email as well. So you can see exactly what it is based on Doc's protocol, what they will need to be taking. And therefore, it takes the onus off of you from being the professional prescribing to instead having doc give the protocol. And that's what's really important. But with that also comes a secondary pairing of a website that gives you all of doc's background, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie recordings, and access to all of the daily radio show calls. So, for example, dealing with the situation with my aunt that just happened in this past week, she has atypical Parkinson's, and I went in there and looked up the different dates and found the one that talked about Parkinson's. And where it was in the recording based upon where it showed it was, and it was like about 5 minutes worth of time out of the full hour that I was able to listen to the recording, take down the information and share that with my family so that, I can say, I'm not just blowing smoke here. This is something that a trained doctor who's been doing this for 50 years has done through all of his research, has come up with. And this is what works. And there are circumstances whereby a person who had Parkinson's was using this protocol for 3 months and therefore no longer needs their Parkinson's meds. Okay. So that's something that Doc Wallach can say. It's not something that we can say. We can't say, stop taking your meds. We can't say this is going to treat, prevent, or cure your disease or condition, but we can share anecdotal evidence from ourselves, and we can share Doc Wallach because he has the necessary credentials in order to do what's in line with a prescription per se. Okay, so therefore it takes that onus off of us.
Pam,
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
in that 90forlifeinfo.com that Marianne just sent us. Is that where you found these snippets? Is that what you're saying?
What did you just send, Marianne?
Link to the,
I
you
just,
said it was linked to the health evaluation, these videos?
yeah, no, those videos, you're talking about YouTube stuff, right, Pamela?
I'm talking about, no, I'm talking about in the portion of our health evaluation system. There's one that is for the health evaluation, and there is one that is the informational side. And that's the one that shows all the doc walks. So for example, I'll send you mine so you guys can take a look at it.
Well, are you, okay, but the website that I put up is the info, which the website that comes with your health evaluation. So that's what you're talking about up there, seeing Dr. Wallach? Is that
Yes.
okay?
Yes, the one that shows the one that shows his story and shows the Dead Doctors Don't Lie tapes and the radio.
So
Was
it
that
has
the one
Dr. Wallach? There's a drop down on there. It says, "Who is Dr. Wallach?" Dead Doctors Don't Lie. Rest of the story. So there's a couple of videos on there.
Yes. And you don't have to contact Paul necessarily. You can just go to healthevaluationsystem.com and sign up there.
Yeah.
And then what he does is he gives you all the information about what you can do, where you can get your own 2 websites. It will automatically create it if you use rapidfunnel.com/longevity. It will link using your ID number to those specific 2 websites.
Yeah, so there's the evaluation system itself, and you can watch a video on there
Mm-hmm.
on what it's
And
about.
put up the rapidfunnel.com longevity one too.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah, and we talk about the 2 different things. The contact mapping is critical to use for the mapping of the contacts. It's literally, that's what it is. But it's keeping track of the coffee shop interviews, the communications that you've made with people. The rapidfunnel.com part has to do with taking the people that you have mapped and providing them with information based upon the things that you have learned that they're telling you they need. Okay, and so that's where the 2 are very critical. They're one has one purpose and one has another. There we go, rapidfunnel.com/longevity. And you can go on there and see the examples of the things. This is terrific. I love it. It's the simplest thing because it will tell you when people have actually opened the email, read it, if they've clicked on a link, how much time they've spent watching a video per se. I mean, it really, it takes away all the questions that you have of, oh, did you get that link I sent you? Did you read it? When you feel like such a moron because you're like, oh, I don't know if you've done any of that.
I don't know if you looked at it or not.
Yeah,
Well,
but now you know. And you can say to them, you can call them up and say, hey, did you get a chance to take a look at that link? Knowing full well that you did, or they did, or they didn't. And they'll say, oh, yeah, I did, but they didn't. Or they'll say, yeah, I did. And you'll say, oh, okay, what did you like best? Remember, we're going back to that question. And if they didn't, they'll say, oh, I didn't, but I will now. I gotten a little busy and I got caught up with life, but I'll go look at it now. Okay, so remember, go back to Eric Worre. We're going to go back and say, oh, okay, so you'll think you'll have a chance to take a look at that link. When do you think you'll have a chance to do that? And you say, oh, Wednesday at 3 o'clock. Okay, great. So then I'll call you at 4 o'clock on Wednesday. Will that work for you? Yeah, great. Okay, great. You'll have watched the video at 3 and I will call you at 4. Great. I look forward to talking with you then. You call them up. They answer the phone. You say, hey, Joe Schmo, whoever it is, did you have a chance to watch that video? And remember, you now know because Rapid Funnel has told you. And they'll say, yeah, I did. Okay, what did you like best? Or no, I didn't have a chance to. That's okay. When do you think you can? And so it becomes this constant thing. And eventually, when these people have finally figured out that, boy, they're really excited about this and this is something really important, I better go watch that video because, Pamela's not going to stop calling me. Pamela loves me that much. She's not going to leave me alone.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because it gives them a point system. So you can see when you look in your, on your app for your Rapid Funnel, it gives you a point so you can tell like what people have done, that they're engaged. And I just noticed that I have a guy on here I haven't followed up with, and he's got more points than anybody else. So now I need to contact him for sure. But yeah, you can kind of give them a status, a starring. So if you want people to, like you want to give them a status so that you see them more often, and you could put in there little reminders to make sure you follow up with them. And then, like I said, you can see their activity log so you know what they've done. So on this particular, I don't know if you can see it. I'm like, sort of. Gosh darn it, how does that work? Anyway.
Hold it on an angle, like away from the screen a little bit, and then there you can kind of see it.
Kind of see it. Anyway, but you can see that this guy's he's done the health evaluation. So I sent it to him. He clicked the link. He actually has watched the health lecture 2 times and did the health evaluation. So there you go. So that tells you he's kind of interested. It even gives you like what time.
I love it. And the contact mapping has its own way to follow up with you as well, where it's a different level of the process, right? The contact mapping is about getting that level of intimacy and understanding what they're all about, whereas the Rapid Funnel is the one that has the tools to send to them. So, yeah, they do work. They're separate right now, but you can use them to work effectively together, and you should use them because they both are very effective.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of a layover, but they're really completely separate type tools, and we're hoping to get them married together at some point, so your contacts will come in out of your contact mapping. Oh, they're separate right now. Yeah, Rose. So they're separate right now. Okay. Anything else, anybody? Oh, Ruth's got a question. Go ahead, Ruth. What's up?
I'm sorry. I signed up for the beta for the contact mapping, but I have not received like a link to an app or anything.
Okay.
I don't know if I did something wrong.
No, I think it's gonna go out tomorrow, the beta.
Okay.
So you should get a link or something tomorrow. If you don't get anything, let me know. But yeah, you should be getting that through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to
It'll
check.
roll out together. I was part of the alpha section, and so it takes a little bit of time to get it initialized. Once you get it up and running, it's like a breeze. It's so easy.
Okay.
But this
Cool.
initial thing, and it depends upon the type of phone that you have, whether it's a iOS or Android, how the process will happen. And there may be a few little bumps in the road. They may have ironed them all out by now, but just know that it will come together and it does work well. So, don't fret. Just be patient as you get settled in.
All right, you guys. Thank you so much. Next week, we have earning an income. Yay! So that's what we're going to talk about. Make sure you watch the compensation videos. There's like 4 or 5 videos, I think. It's a breakdown. It breaks it out, in sections. So watch that, and so we can talk about that on the other side. And I have, in my book, I always carry my little notebook thing that I carry. I always have a copy of the compensation, right? So I can talk intelligently about this. So I don't remember everything, even though I know it pretty well, but I don't always remember all the statistics within there. Yep. Oh, look, and Pamela's is laminated. Mine is not, but Pamela is so good. Hers is laminated.
I'm a little chronic. You'll get to know me. I'm like that.
All right, you guys. Thanks so much. And how do we order the CDs? Did you put that up there?
Oh, we put up you did and I did. Someone did. I think Brenda G may have put up drjwallach.com. drjwallach.com. There it is. Thank you, Brenda Teresa.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
All right, you guys. Have a great evening.
Love you guys. God bless.
Have a blessed day.
I have some that you can buy. I do. If you want me to ship them to you.
Okay.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Do you have my number, Rose? I'm going to put it on here. You can text me.
Yep, she's asking for the number.
Uh-oh. Yep, text me tomorrow, and then we'll figure that out. I'll just have you pay via PayPal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Good night, everybody. Love you all.
Everybody,
Look forward to seeing some of you this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, have a great time. Enjoy. Learn lots and bring back a whole bunch to teach us.
Yeah. Leadership Mastery. All right.
And give Marianne a big hug. You guys hug each other.
All right.
I will.
We will.
Have a blessed
I
night.
get weird.
Thank you, Vincent.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. We're out of here.
Thank you, guys.
Be blessed.
Thank you.